What is happening, guys? It is Thursday. We have 2 days till game week 5 starts. So what better way to basically just chill out? Oh, Glarus, thank you for joining the party. Thank you for coming. Thank you for ruining my introduction. Right, we've got 2 days till game week 5. And let's just chill out and have a bit of a laugh stream. So I've asked a few people on Twitter for some questions. We got some weird and wonderful questions. We'll look at that. I'm going to show you guys my plans. Oh, I'm not going to get through this intro, am I? You guys know what's happening, right? Twitter questions, look at my plans, see who I'm getting rid of Zuma for. And yeah, we'll do some rate my teams later on. How is everyone doing? Before we get started, I've got some bad news, right? I've got some bad news. I didn't have any ice. And it's not chilled enough. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. It's horrible. It's worse than having Zuma for 4 weeks. Oh, I was tempted to get a beer. I know. Obvious. Oblivious Gaming. Welcome to Big Fat Sexy Team. Wow, 3 follows in like 10 seconds. How's it going, buddy? You've arrived. Yeah, it looks like you've arrived. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this stream. That's awesome. 3 follows. If you haven't been here before, I'm FPL Dave. I'm very good at coming up with names, obviously. This is my stream. I stream Mondays and Thursdays every single week, regardless of if it's an international break or not. I also post some articles on fantasy football. I also... I'm on some podcasts sometimes. I'm all over the place, right? I've got loads of things to tell you all about, but it's coming to the end of the international break. Let's be honest, lads. It's the international break end, and I've been spitting out absolute fire. I was on the Fantasy Weekly podcast the Monday after came out. I basically did a full stream on Monday of just a straight lecture on who you guys should be picking for the next 4 weeks. Oh, excuse me, for the next 4 weeks, and it's just, and I'm spent, so I thought it would be much better, I thought it would be much better, to just kind of have like a bit of a chill out time, you know, just chill out, let's just talk FPL, let's have a look and see how shite Delafeu is now. I heard he dropped in price again, which is amazing. Perez dropped. Everyone we said that would drop was dropped. Everyone who's playing shite is playing shite. But unfortunately, if we just go straight into my team, I'm also doing shite. So it's kind of full circle, actually, which is really nice. Let's have a look. Let's remind ourselves just exactly where my team is. A real hen's here. First ever donator. I remember. I'll never forget. How's it going, buddy? Appreciate you coming out. So yeah, this is where the team is sitting just now. Now, obviously, whenever you look at rate my team, you always look at the fires. You look to see what could be changed. And the problem is when you're behind and when you have fires, you want to take hits. You want to get it right. And you're never actually building for the future because you're too busy like putting out all these daft picks that you decided to do. So I had like Murray, I've still got Zuma, I had 2 defenders from Liverpool that I didn't like. I didn't have Dean at the start. You know, I had Fraser and Wilson, so there's been a lot of issues that I've had to kind of fight, and it really affected my rank. As you guys can see on your screen, we're near the 2 million mark, which is just absolutely pants. It's not where we want to be, but I feel like for the first time I'm exactly where I want to be in terms of my team. I've only got 1 fire left, and he's about to get the fuck out. James, 100 bits. Here's to panicking into playing my wild card. Oh no, don't play your wild card just out of that. It's Ross's Ceballos hat-trick incoming. I fucking hope so, because I was listening to FPL General's 59th minute podcast, and I was just walking to work, and I was like, oh, this is a good podcast, that's good. He's saying all the things that I already know. It's nice to have someone who's saying the same things that are in my head. That's really... And then he goes, and I've taken Ceballos off my watch list, and I'm like, you motherfucker! You... What do you mean? We're chilled out. We're chilled out. explain to me why you've taken him. And then he was like, oh yeah, he didn't play. Emery's a fraud, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's cool. I agree. Liam needs a laugh after this week. We're just chilling out. There's no lecture today. It's just a very straightforward, let's see what everyone wants to talk about and let's just talk about it. So grab a drink, Liam. It's a double bourbon because I thought I've not got any ice. I'm not going to put more Coke in it. So I'll just put way more Buffalo Trace in. So grab a drink. Let's just have a bit of a laugh. Obvious gaming, Mr. James, it's too late. Yeah, you shouldn't have wildcarded. Just like out of panic. We'll have a look at your team. You sent me your team in. We do rate my teams at the end of the stream. I think we've been doing it every single time, right? KM94, I'm the one who has Mina and Dean. If you asked how much I have in the bank, I have 0.3 in the bank and 1 free transfer. All right. Well, we'll have a look. Did you send the team on Twitter? If you did, we'll definitely get to it at the end. We'll do some cues in a second. I was watching some other streams and kind of having a look to see, and they always get Twitter questions and then crop them and put them on the thing. So I thought, yeah, that's a really easy way to do content. So let's just do that. Just ask people. And then I asked an hour and a half ago, and like I got 5 replies. So I've stolen some questions from the Fantasy Weekly tweet that they did it properly in a few days in advance, I think, or they just have FPL General retweeting it, which actually helps as well. So yeah, I've stolen some questions. I had some belter questions sent in as well. So don't you worry, we've got some content. Right. Looking at my team, it's very obvious that Zuma needs to get to fuck, right? Okay, so let's have a look at my transfer page and show you guys what I'm planning to do. So if I take him out, right, that feels so good just to even look at that. I would play that. That feels so nice. Oh, I just want to stab him so much. He's cost me a green arrow in quite a lot of different weeks, okay? Like, I was on like 1.3 million from 1.6, and I was like, that's 300,000 green arrow. That's not bad, right? And then he scored an own goal, and I went from 1.3 to 1.9. Oh, that's a fucking huge swing. He went, oh man, let's not talk about it, right? Okay, he's out the team this week. We don't have to look at it. James says, I didn't show what it was before, but I had Martial for the last United game where he didn't play, and then the Pookie party happened, and then Laporte got injured. So you had a few fires, and that's good, right? So as long as you're wildcarding with intent, it's not like you're just on board or, oh, I want everyone that everyone else has. Like, there needs to be something wrong with your team to wildcard, or you're planning on jumping into the fixture swing, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'll be playing my wildcard game week 9. Which is why at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, there's a little thing, wildcard stream at 200 follows. I would love to get 200 more followers, or 200 followers total, by game week 9, so I can actually do that. It's a little goal for myself. I haven't really set up many goals, actually, for myself at all since doing content. I was just like, I'll just say everything that I want to say, and we'll see how that goes. And it's been going really well. So this is my first little goal. So if you haven't followed, just fucking follow so I can do the stream and feel good about myself. Liam, I didn't send you my team because I think I know what transfers I'm going to make. Foster Pope, but would bring in Trent for Robbo for -4. I don't think you should do the Robbo move. Robbo's not really a fire. Just save your points. I feel like Robbo could potentially get his attack in return this week. Oh, that's so strong. That's very strong. All right, so Zuma's out, and hold on, let's go into this mode so you can see. This is my watch list. Okay, so these are all the kind of players I was thinking I could potentially bring in. I also put Otamendi in there just so I could watch his percentage. I just wanted to see. Okay, so almost everyone that I've got that I could potentially swap. I could potentially swap them out for are all pretty much differentials, right? Van Aanholt, 11.4% owned. Peters for Burnley, 8.8% owned. Maitland-Niles and Kolasinac. Kolasinac obviously has only played 1 game, so he's got very, very, very low percentage owned, and is also dropped in price, which would help because Zuma's also dropped in price, right? So it would kind of keep my value balanced. I do have 1.1 million in the bank, so I can afford pretty much every defender apart from Liverpool ones. So I'm good there. And I put out a little poll just to see where everyone was at on Twitter, saying like, I want Zuma out, but I'm still undecided. Should I bring in Maitland-Niles, or should I potentially just bring in Matip and just hope for the best there, even though, you know, he's not got that great fixtures. Newcastle, Sheffield's okay, so I would expect, you know, 1-2 clean sheets. Chelsea aways, I mean, they should keep a clean sheet, but I'm not 100% sure about it. And then Leicester at home, again, it's a bit of an iffy one. You know, everyone keeps saying Vardy can score anytime. But the main thing that I don't really like Matip for is just because, you know, Champions League starts soon. And Gomez is going to have to play eventually. And Matip, he actually, Mr. Joel has missed a game already, right? He didn't play the first week. So it's not like he's completely nailed. It also makes me feel bad because I've taken double Liverpool defense out recently, and then now I'm just gonna slot them back in. But we have to remember that I'm gonna be basically wildcarding this decision away in 4 weeks. So this is just a 4-week punt for myself, right? I don't really need to do anything else. I don't need to think about anything other than the next 4 game weeks. James says, it was incredibly tempted to bring in Kolasinac, but I thought he was too much for a defender that's not returning much. I mean, he hasn't returned much because he played 1 game, but they got rid of Monreal, right? He's pretty much their only left back. The problem with him, like Ross says, Tierney and Bellerin are back in full training. Now, that's technically not what he said. What he said was, they want to be in training with the full team in September. Now, I'm not 100% sure if he is yet. I'm not 100% sure.
Xavi's error.
Oh my God.
Watt. He's done it. This is the
A real hen. £5. Mate, you're so lovely. Stop sending me money. Thank you so much for the fucking donation, buddy. I appreciate that. And I love hearing that. You don't get to hear Tony Watt's goal so much on this stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You are a real gem, Mr. Hen. Oh, thanks very much. You love I love your content. The only content that I've seen of you really is just when you come on the stream and you chuck me money. So I love it. Thank you so much, buddy. If you're looking for the next 4 weeks and have no plans of getting in Pope, surely a Burnley defender is the obvious choice. And Tips says, hello, how you doing, Dave? Sorry, just been doing a live QA on Twitter. Give you a little shout out at the end saying I'd be in here. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. That's really nice of you. Jeez Louise, everyone's so nice in this community. I have one hater, and I miss him. And when I argue with him on Twitter, I don't know if you've seen it. I won't post it or nothing, but like when I argue with my hater, I have so much fun because I just think it's so funny. And then people tweet me saying, bro, just leave it, like you look bad, and then he gets loads of followers off it. I'm like, oh, but I really like arguing with people. So you guys are so nice. I'll sub if you add the Aguero scream. Mate, if you sub, the Aguero scream is happening. I won't even touch anything, right? If you sub, the Aguero stream will appear. It'll appear. Itch Raw says they are back in full training. Look at Arsenal's Twitter. Are they actually? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, well, that's not good. That's not good, is it? Oh, wow. We've got so many things. Right, Arsenal. Go on. I can't hear the Aguero scream. Right. Arsenal have some good news. They've signed Joe Willock again. That's great. Awesome. Back in training. Nope. Getting set. Watch out, KT's about. Oh shit, so he is. Oh, there he is, running about. Right, okay, so Kieran Tierney's there. Is Bellerin here? Oh shit, he is as well. Oh, fuck's sake. God damn it. So they're back. So they're actually back. Who's your hater? The FPL community is awful this week. It's been so annoying. Everyone's so bored. Just need football back. Aye, that's it. I just feel like shit. Just want FPL back. I just want some controversy. I'd love it. That hater looked a bit of a mug. Not sure how anyone agreed with him. I know. I mean, what he said something like, I don't want to get into it. He was being a twat and it was funny, but like I just love arguing with people and it's a problem. I've got to cull that Who's your hater? I'm not telling you, right? He's just a random dude. Sorry for ruining your transfer plans. Oh, no, it's fine. That's perfect, because I was talking to people about it, right? And I was like, I really want to bring them in. I think they're going to do well attacking, and I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure about jumping on anyone else. But right now, this seems like the best thing to do now, right? Matip, because if they're back, I wanted Maitland-Niles or Kolasinac for the next like 4 game weeks. But no way they're gonna get 4 game weeks if they're both back in training right now, being videoed and put on Twitter. That's some deafening that's some deafening FPL god screaming at me, telling me, nah, Jimmy, don't do it. I just was explaining that I like arguing. FPL tips. I love that you want to defend me, but I honestly thought it was funny, and it's just not a good idea to get into it. I've been talking too much about it. Leave it alone. Jimmy, don't do it. Right. Here it is, right? Matip is in 5.4. I've got 0.6 left in the bank, which allows me to do Pope. Now, someone shouted earlier saying, if you don't plan on getting Pope in, surely a Burnley defender. And I was thinking about it, but Ryan really only has 2 good game weeks left, Burnley and Newcastle. And after that, he's got some horrible games, right? Chelsea away, no clean sheet. Tottenham at home, no clean sheet. Aston Villa away, probably not. Everton at home. Everton haven't been looking great away, but to be honest, they haven't been at full force up front. So I reckon that's not a clean sheet. And then Norwich at home, he's playing against Pookie, and I don't want to have Pookie and Ryan. So I think I'm going to take him out and get Pope in. And that's pretty easy. And I can do that. I've got 5.1. I could get any number of goalkeepers, to be honest. I can afford most of them, except for the premiums. But I think that's going to be Pope. So let's just do that right now. Let's just show. I don't have Pope on my watch list because I'm an idiot. But so there he is there. So he's going in. So that looks fine, right? What do we think of this? That's a needless hit. Oh, no, sorry. This isn't going to be all in one game week. I'll do this, actually. It'll be easier. That's not going to be in one game week. Ryan has 2 good fixtures. So Pope is going to be coming in after game week 6, I think. Because in game week 5, they play Brighton away, and I'd rather have Ryan at home than Pope away. Then they play Norwich at home. And Norwich at home is probably harder than Newcastle away for Brighton. So I'm just going to keep Ryan in for that, and then bring Pope in for the rest of them, because I kind of want him anyway. I mean, I'll reassess and make sure that that's what I want. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting Pope. So in that respect, I've still got, 5.9 million to spend. But what I was thinking about is I could actually do this, right? So see how I don't like Zuma. But I don't like Dendoncker either. Wolves have been kind of shit. And I have exactly enough money to do this. I can just play 3 at the back, because let's face it, the defense hasn't been playing very well, and everyone can beat anyone, and everyone seems to be scoring against everyone. So why not just go 3 at the back, have Dean, Alexander-Arnold, and Zinchenko, which covers all the best defenses in the league just now, and just jump to this guy who I've been shouting about all week, right? What about that? So be playing Ryan, Dean, Alexander-Arnold, Zinchenko. Zuma would be on the bench. Sterling, De Bruyne, McGinn, Ceballos, and Salah in midfield, and then Pookie and Allaire up front, and I would be playing a 3-5-2. What do we think of that? McGinn will blank now. That's just the rules. Downgrade Zuma and get James. Yeah, no, I could do that as well. So I could downgrade Zuma to Lundstrom this week. So this is another option. And then I've got James in my watch list to do that, right? So I could do this. Still think you could downgrade Zuma too. So that's another option. So in game week 5 or coming up, I can do this move just now, right? And he'd be playing Southampton. And then I'd bench him for Everton and Liverpool, and next game week I'd upgrade Dendoncker to James. Or
Messi to the near post.
Oh, mamma mia. Welcome to the fucking sexy club, Andy. Andy85 WSM. How's it going, buddy? Oh, you also said something. Tuning in while I do some setup for my stream later. Nice and chilled in here. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Andy, when is your stream? Because I would love to just... I'm assuming you're Andy. The Andy. Because I want to kind of... You have so many people that anytime you go on in your streaming, I just lose everyone. So I would love to be able to like just kind of move it from me to you seamlessly. So yeah, that would be great. FPL Tip says it's James and not James. No, I know. It's way funnier to call some guy called James from Wales James than not. Lundstrom's fixtures are straight trash. Perma bench option after this week. Up to your wild card. Yeah, so this is what the plan would be, all right? Let's get these guys back, right? So game week 5, I'd bring in Lundstrom, right? Which would give me 1.8 million in the bank. So that my game week for this week would be Dean, Alexander-Arnold, Zinchenko, Lundstrom, and then, you know, Salah, Sterling, De Bruyne, Ceballos, my 2 front guys, and Ryan in defense, right? That's would be for game week 5. Then game week 6, I go Dendonker to James, which I've got enough for, 6.3. I'm not 100% sure if I want to do that, but it's an option, right? I could do that. And then after that, it would be Ryan to Pope very, very easily. And I'd have enough because I've got 0.2 in the bank. So even if he goes up. Just keep doing your thing. Don't worry about me. Lundstrom, the king of FPL. Yeah. I'm not worried about you. I just recognize the problems that arise when our streams collide. Yeah, no, Lundstrom is the king. Like it's annoying because he's so out of position. He comes on right on live TV or whatever. They were streaming his little interview and he goes, yeah, you know, I'm a box to box midfielder, I'd say, but you know, it's important to defend. And I'm watching highlights of him in the box just fucking constantly. Like what box are you talking about? Because you're obviously defending in the opponent's box most of the game, and it's really frustrating because the only good game they've had and he scored and ruined me. But it's fine because so this actually would work, right? And even if I didn't want James next week, because for whatever reason, you know, I decide that West Ham away is not a good fixture, or he gets injured or whatever, you know, I've still got 6.3 to play with, and there is quite a lot of players that I can bring in. I could bring in Cantwell and just save the money and upgrade to maybe a premium keeper, Laurie or something, I'm not sure, whoever has good fixtures from game week 7 onwards, right? I could bring them in. Cantwell actually has decent fixtures game week 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Norwich play Burnley, Crystal Palace away, which is a bit iffy, then Aston Villa at home, which should be a goal fest. So having Cantwell and Pookie's, you know, a pretty good deal, and I would skip the City fixture this way, so that works. So if I did that, I would have exactly 1.5 million to upgrade Ryan to a 6 million goalkeeper. And if Alisson's back by then I could put Alisson in and actually save some cash, right? That's decent. When are you next going on the General's Pod? Real Hen says. I was on the Fantasy Weekly that got uploaded on Wednesday. And we talked about who we would like to slice open and hide in for warmth, just like in Empire Strikes Back, which was hilarious. It was such a weird question to ask, and I'll let you guys listen to see what everyone's answers were. Spoiler alert, General went for a fat person, and I just went for Zuma because I want to slice him open. So long as Pope doesn't rise in 2 game weeks... Yeah, James, I mean, that's an issue, right? He might rise. But, I mean, I've got 6 million right now, and I could do, like, if I did this plan... We're spending a lot of time on my team, to be honest, and I kind of wanted to move on. But there is so many things that I could do. Come on now. Is that not how you spell his name? Is it double L? No, it's double S. What a loser. So, yeah, I could do that. So, if Alisson came back. That team is not bad, right? It just means that I'm playing Cantwell or Lundstrom every game week. But as FPL Tips keeps shouting, and he's been saying this forever, by the way. So, I mean, if you don't follow FPL Tips, go and get him, because he does some good shit, right? He's in the stream just now. I'm sure he'll link his Twitter. Jimmy says he'd slice open John Candy. I'm pretty sure John Candy's dead. Oh, and he doesn't play football. I think it was an FPL only question, but yeah, no. If we're just talking fat guys, like, I mean, John Candy. To be fair, he is dead, so he wouldn't feel it. But it's the classic Tauntaun question. It's slice Ricky Lambert in the modern day. Fair, exactly. The problem with my team is Martial. If he's not fit, should I bench him or transfer him out, and who for? Nah, you just keep him, right? If the press conference comes back and he says that he's unfit, you can afford most of the good players anyway, right? So I wouldn't worry about it too much. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Footballers, Danny Shitu. I have no idea who that is. He's let himself go. Rakin Femwa. Yeah. No, what about Shaw, right? General said Shaw. I thought that was pretty funny because he's always getting made fun of for packing the pounds, and then he came up saying, "No, I'm as fit as I've ever been." And then we watched him last season, Shaw pretending to run up and down the wing, and then injure himself because he was running up and down the wing. So like when he's actually running, he hurts himself. Aye. Jimmy, you're nuts. Right, so back to my team, guys. Come on now. Stop making fun of heavy people. It's not funny. Right. And to be fair, Holly from FF Community said that she would pick a goalkeeper because they have that extra padding, which I thought was brilliant. I wish I thought of that. All I could see was red when thinking about Zuma. So this team that you guys see would potentially be the team from Game Week 7 and onwards. But what I'm actually thinking about doing, just to kind of save face and cover all my bases and not really worry too much, is just go McGinn and then get, and then downgrade Zuma for a 4.5 defender, whoever looks best. I mean, I'll probably just go, you know what? I really do like this Lundstrom idea though, right? Do we like this? See, now I'm talking to you guys. I'm talking myself out of things that I've been thinking about all week, which is great. Lundstrom there, 1.8 million in the bank. Upgrade Den Donker to Cantwell for game week 6 and have him a punt for those 3 plump fixtures until we wildcard, and then we can rearrange our entire team. And I reckon Cantwell will probably drop in price if he blanks game week 5. So that might be pretty good, right? I think that might be a good idea. I'd slice open Delafeu. We don't have to slice him open, right? Because he hasn't hurt us the way Zuma has. I mean, I would like nothing more than for people who have Delafeu to suggest slicing him open, because it's so fun to. I mean, I know he's done better than Zuma, and so I can't talk shit. But like, so many people had him. R.I.P. Gold. If you're still in the stream, Gold. Aye. So yeah. So this is what I'm thinking, right? I'm benching Cantwell for game week 5. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, if you have these 2, then benching one of them and having Lundstrom. But this would be my game week. This would be my game week 5 team. So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Let's move on to the Twitter questions. Because I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna do, and I do have a couple days to think about it. You know, we're 2 days away from Saturday at time of stream. Let's just jump ahead into the questions, right? Bam! Look at that production value. There was so many questions, by the way, that I just looked at when I'm looking at my Twitter just now, which is awesome. Thank you very much, guys, for sending your shit in. And we have some Rate My Teams, which James is sorting out behind the scenes. Thank you very much, buddy. Right, first question. I see plenty of managers. Keith Hopkins says, at Keith Hopkins. I see so many managers having one goalkeeper, often 4.5 mil, and a non-playing 4 million as the second. Is it preferable to have 2 playing 4.5 keepers that we rotate, Pope and Ryan, for instance? The problem with having money tucked away on your bench from a keeper is that you're probably never playing them unless you find the perfect, like, I'm playing him this week, then him this week, and I'm going to rotate them, and they work really well for 10 game weeks. Unless you find that and you're actually planning to take them out further down the line, then there's no point, right? You're supposed to find a keeper that you can just stick to and last. For me, I always knew that I was going to wildcard in the first 10 game weeks, so going for Ryan and then using a transfer on him, I'm fine with. But I would never ever put an extra 0.5 million into my bench keeper, because it's so difficult to get that out unless you are wildcarding. Because it's always going to cost you 2 transfers. Say you're like 0.2 away from getting Allaire or someone, and you really want them, and you're sitting with Pope and Ryan. Now, that's like the hardest stuff, because that's a 4-point hit just to sort that out if you really have to do it. And more often than not, that 0.5 million is going to be sitting on your bench all the time, right? It's not like Pope's going to get injured. Here's the, let's use this as an example, right? So Pope, you've got Pope on your bench and you're playing Ryan next game week, right? And Ryan's doing his thing. He starts the game, and then he does an Allison like game week 1, and he goes out for a goal kick, and then he fucks the ball, fucks his leg, and that's him away, and they've got to sub on whoever Brighton have on their bench, right? So Ryan's dead. You're not getting Pope coming on, right? Pope is sitting on your bench because Ryan's already played minutes. So Ryan gets nothing, you get nothing, and Pope stays on your bench. All right, that's scenario 1. That scenario is then continued when Ryan goes down in price, and you might need to transfer him out anyway, right? Scenario 2, Pope's in training. He's having a bit of a laugh. He goes up to save the ball and accidentally checks his head right off the post. That's him out for 4 months or whatever, right? Horrible, horrible accident. You're going to get told that by Twitter, by me, by any content person. By the way, Pope's injured. I mean, there was someone, who was it? Burnley. The manager came out and said Barnes was injured a little bit ago, but he's fine now. And fucking Twitter exploded, right? Like, you'll find out if Pope gets injured midweek, and then you can deal with him then. And you can take a hit if necessary, and you can bring whatever other keeper in, right? And we can assess it at that point. But you're still not going to just leave him on your bench and hope and let his price drop and then use Ryan, right? So goalkeepers are never fires until they get injured or they have really bad fixtures, but you'll know that well in advance. So of those 2 scenarios where your keeper gets injured and you might need them for another one, both can just be rectified by just having one keeper and then dealing with it the next week or that week if they get injured between game weeks. So the only reason that you need to have 2 keepers is if you found the perfect like rotation teams and they just have fixture after fixture that are great. Now there's teams out there that have that, but it's like a 5 million keeper, and a 4.5, or a Liverpool keeper and a 4.5. And what's the point? Because you're not going to play the 4.5 ever in those situations. So for me, it just seems kind of wasteful. Viz, did you read the WGTA? That is who got the assists. Lovely piece on decision fatigue. I did see that. It affects us all. That's why there's so many people out there who keep asking other people like, oh, what should I do? This or this, because they've been thinking about it over and over again and over and over again, and they die pretty much. I didn't read it, but I've heard them talking about it a lot last year. There was a specific point where they went through it. But yeah, no, it happens to everyone, and that's why it's always good to just write shit down. I've got a little note thing on my phone that I can just do pros and cons real quick, and I just write stuff down. So you're not thinking of this and then countering it with this and then thinking of this and then going round in circles and going back and forth and back and forth. Just write it down, and then they're all there, and you don't have to keep thinking about it. It's just on paper and get it out of your head. Thank you very much, Keith, for the question. I hope that answers your question, and I hope you don't have Pope and Ryan, for instance, on your team. And if anyone else has their wild card still, and they do have 2 4.5s, I think, yeah, it's a great idea just to get rid of that whole scenario. Viz, basically minimize the number of decisions to make, and having a non-playing 4.0 takes one decision away from your hand so you can focus on important things. Yeah, that works too. It's like, why get Sterling and Aguero? You're just going to have to figure out who you're captaining between them, kind of thing. Yeah, I get you. Vardy in on the wild card when Leicester's fixtures change? Absolutely. 100%. I think. If he's still banging them in and he's not injured and Leicester look as good. Although they're not going to look great the next 3 game weeks. They have, or 4 game weeks. They have some hard fixtures. But yeah. He is on the watch list for game week 9 onwards. Yeah, that's another thing, Viz. You're absolutely right. The only thing is, I would say, is that I'm very, very plan heavy. I was last year, and it worked out for me, and I got that top 10k finish that everyone's looking for, and it was based on planning around the fixtures. So if I was to get a 4.5 and a 4.5, I would know 10 game weeks in advance who I was playing every week, and it wouldn't be a decision. But certainly, like a Lundstrom versus Kelly or someone, if they have 2 good fixtures, it's very difficult. Like Twitter's and the community and everyone's blowing up because we've got Salah against Newcastle and Sterling against Norwich. That's a really difficult decision for a lot of people, and they're freaking out about it. Just make your decision making early on when you look at the fixtures, and take those difficult situations away from yourself. Absolutely. I mean, this is the only hard one. After this is pretty fair sailing with the captaincy options. I'm already this is how chilled out we are. I'm already nearly finished my drink. I might have to go jump for a beer or something. Is Barnes a doubt for game week 5? He's flagged for this week. Nah, I think the manager came out and said, the manager said that he was injured a little bit ago. He's got a bit of a groin issue, but he's fine now. So I'm sure he's fine now. Sterling for me, says Raw. Thoughts on Aubameyang? I think many managers will transfer him in after 1 or 2 game weeks. Aubameyang is the man, right? He hasn't blanked yet. He's got great fixtures. He's doing really, really well. Arsenal are only going to get better when Tierney and Bellerin come in. Pepe's getting good. He's probably going to start returning. Ceballos plays amazing, and they noticed him coming in and doing well against Tottenham. And they don't have any Xhaka issues this week because he's being injured. So I think their attack is just going to be a bit better from now on. And Aubameyang's going to be playing. This is I think the first time in a long time that he's played 4 straight games, and he just looks great. And I'm sure he's probably said, like, look, you need to be playing me every week because I got 22 goals and I played like way less minutes than most of the other guys. So think of how well I could do if you play me every week. Although if you do remember, last year he came on off the bench and scored 2 goals, and then the next week he did the exact same thing, which is mental. It's just so lucky for people, so lucky for owners. So I do really like Aubameyang. And if I was on my wild card right now, it'd be very difficult for you to get me off of him. Right, let's move on to the next question. Thank you very much for sending your questions, by the way. It was really, really nice of you guys. I literally tweeted it maybe an hour before this, so... You owned him, Raw? You bloody lucky bastard. I'm going to butcher your name. Sorry, buddy. Surin asks, Pogba, AWB, Barkley. Which one needs to be ditched in the first place? 1 free transfer only. So who do we hate more? Pogba, Wan-Bissaka, or Barkley? I think I hate Barkley more. I think Pogba is on pins. So, I mean, I don't think he's a problem. But you can probably go to a lot of people from Pogba. How much is Pogba? Let's double check that. I don't actually know how much he's worth. Is it 8.5 still? Is he dropped? Pogba is 8.5. And he has got an ankle injury. I'd rather Barkley than Pogba on a purely financial basis. Yeah, so 8.5, you could get a lot of players. If you have money in the bank, which we always assume you don't. If you don't tell me that you've got money in the bank. I'm not going to assume you do, but if you did, it'd be amazing just to go to Eriksen from there, which you only need 0.3 million, right? Where are you, Mr. Spurs? Eriksen's dropped to 8.8 million, so that would be, oh, you guys can't see that. That would be awesome, because Eriksen is now going to be fully integrated into Spurs because he's not leaving because the transfer window's shut. He did well last game. And they've got Crystal Palace at home, Leicester away, which is a bit of an iffy one, and then Southampton and Brighton, and then Watford at home, which I think is a spanking. So yeah, I think that's a decent swap. But if you can't afford that, then who would I prefer? I mean, Pogba. Who's Pogba playing even? That's a good shout. What are Pogba's fixtures like? They're not that great. I know that much, but he might. I mean, he could just turn it on whenever he wants, and that's the problem with him. He already has 2 returns this year. And they've been playing pretty pants. Leicester home, West Ham away, Arsenal home, Newcastle away. Those are pretty good fixtures, right? Other than Leicester, the defenses haven't been great. For West Ham's like one of the worst defenses. Arsenal are 5th for worst XG goals against, or what's it called again? I always forget. It's on understat, right? Understats. So if we look at the fixtures, and we look at expected goals against, West Ham's up there, and then Arsenal are 5th. So they're playing some of the worst defenses coming up, in 2 of their games. Leicester's pretty good in defense. Like, they're second best, only to Manchester United. And then who else are they playing? They're playing Newcastle, who aren't actually doing as badly as you'd think, despite, you know, them being Newcastle this year. And sacking their manager and all that stuff. So Newcastle aren't doing terribly. Most of their goals were actually from that thrashing they got off of Pookie. So yeah, I think Pogba in this case is the worst player in terms of value. Jim, I think you're right. Pogba and AWB aren't rotation risks. Barkley is. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to get to. Could always go Pogba to someone like Mount or Lanzini and bank the money for next week's transfers. Yeah, I'm assuming that he's having to play Barkley though. Like, unless you're able to put Barkley on the bench, that's a huge problem, right? Because you're getting someone who's not playing, which sucks. So for me, I think Barkley needs to go. And how much is Barkley these days? Let's double check. Barkley 5.8. Damn. He has lost some money on that. Okay, so Ceballos 5.6. I think I'd prefer McGinn at 5.6 than Ceballos, just purely because of that niggling fucking manager who keeps leaving him on the bench like a twat. I don't think he's going to be left on the bench because there's been a few injuries and all that stuff, but I've got an ownership bias on that one, so I'm not 100% sure. Barkley is a non-playing liability, gotta get rid. I absolutely agree. Did you see the article on Transfer Market about VAR decision errors? I seen the headlines. I didn't actually read it. Tell me about it, stud. What's happening? Barkley to McGinn, then Pogba to Eriksen, and AWB to Otamendi. Yeah, I mean, he's got some options there. I absolutely agree, though. Barkley to McGinn leaves Pogba to Eriksen if he's not got anything in the bank, and I would love to do that move myself. I'd love to have Eriksen, or indeed De Bruyne if he doesn't have him either, right? But just anyone. Now, McGinn, that's something, if you guys haven't watched the stream, right, just to point out, let's have a look at just who they're playing, right? Let's remind ourselves. Let's go to the watch list because I've got him here, right? So McGinn's playing West Ham, Arsenal, Burnley, and Norwich. Okay, keep that in your head. West Ham, Arsenal, Burnley, Norwich. Then we jump to this screen. West Ham, Norwich, Aston Villa. They're all the worst for goals, expected goals against. West Ham's there, Norwich there, Arsenal's there. So 3 of the 4 teams that they're facing are absolutely shite at stopping players from shooting. That's huge, right? That's huge for McGinn owners, because McGinn, their manager, said himself that he's an attacking force to be reckoned with. We've seen his heat maps. I've looked at all his stats loads on this stream. He's doing absolutely amazing, and he's now coming up to one of his best ever fixture runs so far in the Premier League, right? So I don't expect them to not score. I feel like they're going to be going all out attack, similar to what Norwich are doing right now, and I think they might take some points home as well. They'll definitely be hungry after that Everton win. So I think McGinn's such a hard player to not want right now, and I can do it, and I might do it, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, in this scenario with this question, Pogba and AWB are playing 90 minutes and Barkley isn't. So which one needs to be ditched? I think Barkley. And who would I bring in? McGinn, definitely. Yeah? All in favor? Can you post a link to the stats website? Yeah, is it this one you're talking about, my man? Bam. That's understat, which is really good. And then who scored is actually good for individual stats. Understat is good for like XG and stuff. And then just for fun, here's a great table that tells you all you need to know about whose fixtures are the best. Where are my questions? Thank you very much for sending that one in. Surin. I'm going to assume it's Surin, which is very close to Sauron. So you could be evil. I'm assuming you're not, though, because you follow me, and everyone who follows me is lovely. Sawsington. Hey, buddy. When did you get here? You could always go Pogba to someone like Mount and Lanzini and bank the money. Oh, I did read that. I didn't realize it was you, my man. Thank you very much for joining us. Alright. Let me have a look here. I've seen something. James, basically City West Ham would have got a pen each in their fixtures, and Shar wouldn't have had his goal scored against Spurs due to a handball in the build-up. Yeah, I mean, VAR's not going to be perfect, right? And it's still humans behind VAR, so it's not like it's error-free. But I mean, everyone knew that Allaire should have got that penalty. No way. Anyone in their right mind. So I'm not 100% sure. Maybe there was a communication error or something. I don't know. But, because they're not going to come out and say, oh yeah, the mic fucked just as he was telling us what the decision was. So I'm just going to assume that it was no pen or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Fuck knows. But, like, would it have been given if VAR wasn't there? Would we be in any different situation? I don't know. It's all swings and roundabouts. Like, Dendonker got his goal denied, and lots of players lost that like goal because they had to play him, and that really helped me. That really helped because people didn't get that, and he wasn't, you know, points mental, and then people bring him in and play him. That might have been good for me, but because stupid people bring people in who score that are really cheap. But yeah, so it swings and roundabouts. I'm not really bothered about the VAR chat anymore. Originally, you know, before pre-game week 1, I was like, yes, get everyone in. Milivojevic, fucking Vardy, to jump in. But, you know, everyone was right who said that it's not going to make that much of a difference. We're not going to see as many penalties. So I'm not too bothered about it, and I'm going to profit from it, and I'm going to lose some cash on it, just like every other team and every other manager. Right, next question. This is one I stole from the Fantasy Weekly tweet. Differentials over the next 4 game weeks to help move up the ranks. What a good question. Hugo Mundo, and I think I've seen you in the chat before. So if you're watching, hello. Thank you very much for sending that question in last week to Fantasy Weekly. Right. My next 4 are pretty much all I've been thinking about. I think Barnes is the best. If like, what are we considering to be a differential? Because 88% of players in this game, they don't have Barnes, so that's still a pretty big differential, right? Pretty big differential. And I wrote about him. I spoke about him loads. Burnley have amazing fixtures. Burnley have even better fixtures than Aston Villa. Burnley are playing Brighton, Norwich, Aston Villa. Those are some like they don't play any big teams in the next 4. So, yeah, I think that's decent. Let's keep going with this. Rashford, no, he's not a differential anymore, and he's really only there for me to see his percentage ownership. But Firmino, he is in the same boat as Barnes. Not many people own him. I love him. We all know I love him. I've even got this in the chat just for him. We lost you too soon. R.I.P. Firmino, out of my team too soon. He's been doing bits, right? He's just fantastic. He's blanked. The only week he's blanked is when I had him, and I think he's going to be amazing. The only problem with Firmino is that everyone probably has 3 players anyway, and it's really hard to get to him. So, I mean, if you're on wildcard, then yeah, fucking jump on him, man. Don't worry about it. Firmino, Salah, and Alexander-Arnold. You can't go wrong. McGinn, we've been shouting about him all stream, all week, all international break. Only 6.8% owned. Lanzini, maybe not so much anymore, right? Because Felipe Anderson has looked fucking fantastic. He's looked so good. Allaire is also only 6.4% owned from West Ham, though I think he's the shout, right? If all the West Ham players, I think Allaire just looks fucking amazing. And his stats are all good. He should have had another at least assist if he wasn't going to be taking the penalty last game week. So yeah, I think he's going to be definitely one to watch for West Ham. All the defenders that I've got here, Peters, not the Arsenal players anymore, because like we discovered tonight live that they're now void. Actually, let's remove them from the watch list because Tierney's going to ruin that for us, so let's not even look at it. Otamendi is very, very low owned, but obviously Zinchenko's high-ish, and then Walker, and then, Ederson. So Otamendi's really just cover, but for 5.4 million, doubling up on City, if you don't want, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't have De Bruyne and Sterling, or De Bruyne and Aguero or whatever, but if you can't get to him, and you're planning on wildcarding a little bit, and you're just planning on not having anyone but Sterling or no one but Aguero, you could jump to Otamendi. He's quite cheap, and they have good fixtures. It's not going to be the majority of players, but yeah, I think he's good. Right, now let's look at the fucking awesome players, right? The players that we all want, that are all differentials, that everyone would say is a good pick, but we're never going to get them because that is who we all aspire to do, right? And it's these guys, right? Mane, 11.5% owned. Such a good differential. Oh, no, that's not right. He's not. That's not right. 19% owned. That's right. Is less than 20%. I'd say like 80% of people don't have Mane. He's scary. He's scary. If I could have him in my team right now, I would do it. If I didn't have to get rid of another premium, right? He is a on fire. Number one, he's doing the business. He will eventually get passed to by Salah. I'm sure they've hashed it out over the international break. They've had time to talk about it, let's be fair. So I mean, like, if they start working together, yeah, I think that's going to be amazing. Sane, RIP, yeah, definitely. Let's not even talk about him. Who was the other person I was talking about? I was thinking about. Yeah, so Pepe. Let's talk about Pepe a little bit. I'm not 100% sure who has place in their team for him, right? So people, you're asking who the best differentials are. There's so many differentials, but if you have enough money to get Son, that means you don't have Salah, Sterling, and De Bruyne, right? Because unless your defense is absolutely shit. So it means that you've probably got other fires that you're going to have to put out if you've got Son. Unless you're absolutely 100% not going with Salah, like we've seen on the stream last week with FPL Audit. Go check him out. I think he's actually just given us... He tweeted his final team going forward for his wild card. So check that out because it's pretty interesting. He's going no Liverpool midfielder. So unless you're being bold and brash and non-template, then you probably don't have enough room for Son and or Pepe, right? But they are really, really good differentials. It's just a matter of time before Pepe does anything, right? He's not going to just blank every week, but he does scuff a lot of shots. So yes, his stats look good, but his shots are kind of lame and shite. So hopefully he can do better with Arsenal's good run of fixtures, and he's not gonna play bad forever. Son, we all know that he can bang them in. He is good, and Tottenham do have decent fixtures, so Son is definitely a big differential. So I mean, all eyes are on him right now. Eriksen, another huge differential as well. If you can't afford Son, you don't want to go up to him or whatever. 4.3% owned for Eriksen. That's really, really, really low. And he's dropped in price as well. Richarlison is also 7.2% owned. Now, he hasn't done much in the league except for last game when he scored 2 goals. And that was the first time that Keane was playing with Iwobi and Sigurdsson and Richarlison. So like the first time their 4 best players up front were playing together, and Richarlison did really well. So that's quite telling. They've got Bournemouth next. They've got Sheffield United at home. They've got Man City, which is kind of a bummer, but then they play Burnley, West Ham, Brighton. Like those are fucking good fixtures for Everton attackers, right? So Richarlison is a banging differential. And you've got Sigurdsson there, but I think I would rather go for Richarlison, to be honest. Maybe not, actually. I haven't really looked at those guys versus each other. Last differentials are, people like Madison and stuff, but their fixtures aren't really calling for it, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm just having a look down on this page, actually, just to see who else I would kind of want. There's not really many. I have been keeping a close eye on Lacazette, but, injury-stricken potentially, and he's quite expensive and hard to get to, and for 9.4 you could get Firmino, who I think is better. So yeah, lots of differentials to go for. If you're on your wild card, you might as well have a few and try and see if your rank can bump up. Thank you so much for sending your question in, buddy. I appreciate that. All right, next question. We've been streaming for an hour, so I think I'm going to do these last 2 really quickly, and then we can go into the RMTs. So if you haven't sent your team in, send it in just now. Go to my Twitter. I'll have tweeted. Tweet me your team, and if you're in the stream right now, you get priority for RMTs. So go and do that now, and James will set that up in the background. Thank you very much, James. I appreciate it. Mad Jim Bob Jimmo Jimmy Jim Jim. Right. I just looked at the next guy's name. I am so sorry for this. I'm like, right. I'm sorry. Abhishek Prajapati. Fucking yes, nailed it. He asked, last season defenders were the value players. This season forwards are getting more returns. Last season everyone had Aguero and Sterling was banging in the points. This season it's the opposite, albeit small sample size yet. Everybody on Twitter is reluctant to change. Why? Well, a couple of questions in there. First one I'll answer is, everyone's went on Sterling because Aguero got bumped up in price before the end of the year, or the start of the year, and he's just a bit expensive, and Sterling did better than him in the course of the season. Also, he had 1 point more for goals. He banged in a hat-trick game week 1, so no one was thinking Aguero, and then Aguero slowly caught up with him. But, Sterling was still fucking doing amazing. So there was no point in everyone to kind of, when they were jostling about and all the early wildcarders, they weren't running for Aguero too much. It was all the casuals that had him. And it seems like he's wildly owned. But I'm assuming in the top 10K, once we balance out, Aguero's not going to be huge. Although people who are wildcarding now will probably be trying to bring him in and go for a Sterling Aguero double up potentially. But that's the reason why no one's really on Aguero as much as Sterling, right? Sterling's got 20% more ownership than him. Last season defenders were value players. This season forwards are getting more returns. That's just, it's kind of a freak accident that that's happening, right? A lot of players, a lot of managers who have went 5 at the back, it's not coming up. But last year the problem was that, you know, we only had maybe 2 or 3 premium defenders, so we weren't hurt as much when, you know, Brighton didn't keep a clean sheet or Burnley didn't keep a clean sheet. But now we've got, you know, Dean 6 million, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robbo like 7 million, and then we're also maybe putting, you know, we had Laporte in, or, you know, Zinchenko and a premium goalkeeper. Like, we're spending so much at the back that it becomes a much bigger problem, right? Which is why you've seen people take away their double Liverpool, which why when Laporte gets injured, people are like, oh, I'm not going to replace him with another City player, because they're trying to move their funds up front. It's not that strikers weren't good value last year, it's just that there wasn't as many. Like, Jimenez was fucking amazing, and there's so many people that jumped on Jimenez early and just rode him out right to the end of the season, and he was always returning, right? There was a few other players, like Mitrovic did well for a little bit, Murray was banging them in for a little bit, but it's just this year, there seems like there's a lot more really quickly, but it will die down, right? It'll balance itself out. We've only been playing for 4 weeks, so it's not a huge deal. But I would recommend, if you've went absolutely heavy at the back, like 5 premiums, to start shifting your money, because this trend could continue. It seems like anyone can score against anyone. Liverpool haven't been looking like themselves. We didn't expect City to draw. We expect them to roll over every team, and they're conceding. Laporte's now injured, so it's not 100% they're going to be getting clean sheets. Although, to be fair, like, it's not one man, it's their tactics, right? It's the possession play. It's the fact that City have, like, they just hold the ball for 99% of the game, and the other team can't get a touch, but they can still concede, right? Anyone can concede, and it's a bit more risky to go for a 5 at the back right now. But cheers very much for sending your team in, and for having a name that is so easy to say live in front of people. And if you didn't hear me the first time, his name is Abhishek Prajapati. Thank you very much for sending your question in to the Fantasy Weekly tweet, not mine, that I stole from their Twitter. Right, last question. By Kevin. Should I take Vardy and LFC defender, or Aubameyang and no LFC defender? For right now, I would want Aubameyang. Why are you gonna? What would you be doing with? Or is that LFC as in Liverpool? No Liverpool defender. Actually, for a minute there, I thought it was Leicester, but that's Leicester City, right? That's difficult. Right, Aubameyang and no Trent, or Vardy and Trent. I think you want Trent, right? It'd be really difficult. Aubameyang not scoring, but Aubameyang's so good. Vardy and a Liverpool. Vardy and Trent is like the no-brainer, right? It's. But I just don't like Vardy right now. So that's why I picked this question, because everyone keeps saying Vardy can score against anyone. Last year he scored very little against the big teams, because I did a piece on it, and I actually looked at every single game. So he used to be able to do it, and he has done it in the past, and there's no telling when he will do it next. He could score against anyone, right? But it's a very overhyped thing on Vardy's side. So I'm not in love with this fact that Vardy can score against anyone. But he is 9.4 million, right? And you could get Firmino with that. So if you could change him for Firmino, then I would love that. So Trent and Firmino over Aubameyang, and no Trent, like, any day of the week. I would actually prefer Lacazette over Vardy, potentially, and just trade them out. Because Vardy has shit fixtures, and Lacazette has great fixtures. And if he plays every week, I mean, I know that's the issue, right? Vardy's going to play 90 minutes, and Lacazette might not play. So would I really suggest that? Probably not. But I definitely prefer Arsenal or Allaire over Vardy, and save the cash. You know, Vardy's not a great pick just now, and I'm just going to say it like I don't think that he's going to do as well as everyone thinks he's going to do. He scored 2 goals and people go fucking nuts and bring him in. I just don't think he's going to do that great. And if he proves me wrong, then I'm going to bring him in game week 9 anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. All right. Questions done. If I missed your question, I'll probably reply on Twitter. But if you sent a good question in, I might save it for next week if it still applies. Let's do the RMTs.